The wheel, just got to dominate up front.
BYU won the toss. They elected to defer. So Texas Tech is led by Baron Morton, and anywhere you look on this offense, you see impressive numbers, Jesse.
It's an explosive offense. They can hurt you throwing it and running it. They're led by the most efficient quarterback in the Big 12, and Baron Morton has a real good feel for this air raid offense. He plays with great timing. He's accurate, good decisions. Really tough, too. Got hurt in the first game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, something he's been dealing with the whole season long. But he got off to a bit of a slow start the first time these two teams played a month ago. It's important he starts faster today.
You saw those numbers. Third in all major college football, averaging over 43 points per game. Morton to start the day. It is incomplete, intended for Coy Aiken. Let's look at the impact players.
Well, for Texas Tech, it starts with their ability to run the football. Cameron Dickey, very physical one-cut runner between the tackles. Caleb Douglas has been on fire with 6 last 5 games receiving. Jack Kelly at linebacker, I think he's their MVP defensively, can do it all. And Evan Johnson is an outstanding shutdown level corner for BYU.
See, Jack Kelly, they consider him the most important piece of their defense. Kevin Marr leads this Big 12 crew for this championship.
False start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Well, Jados, the transfer from Miami of Ohio. He was a 3-year starter there before moving over and having success at Texas Tech.
It sounds a little bit different, I think, for Texas Tech in this one. First game, remember, was at home. BYU is the one having issues with the noise.
And get it quickly into space to Reggie Virgil as he weaves his way and dives ahead towards that 35-yard line.
And I think this is a good example of how offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich is trying to get Baron Morton at quarterback into the rhythm of the game a little bit earlier. We've seen 2 very quick throws on this first drive.
There's Dickey. And he works his way just to gain a couple of yards. Katie.
Well, Tesh, Jesse mentioned Morton's lower right leg injury. He pushed through the pain he was dealing with a month ago to play against BYU. But since then, he's been in a practice boot, only doing mental reps, routes on air. This Wednesday, first day he got to take off the boot, healthiest he's been all season.
No doubt about it, Katie, as trying to find Terrence Carter, their extremely athletic tight end.
Well, and he's a tough runner after the catch. The Louisiana transfer runs 6'2", 245 pounds, and he's hard to bring down. There's another example of a very quick throw, just trying to help this offense find its rhythm early.
Carter is top 6 in the country among tight ends with yards after the catch. So he goes for 5 there. Third down and 2. Dickey straight ahead as he powers his way for a first down.
Well, that's impressive at 215 pounds. Satuala at safety is the one who's going to meet him there just beyond the line of scrimmage, and he's able to drive him back to pick up the first.
See the pace being set by Texas Tech early on as Morton able to get it complete again to Cameron Dickey.
Well, it's a passing attack that is very balanced, and it's not just receivers that you have to worry about, but they've got 2 running backs, Cameron Dickey and Jacoby Williams, that are outstanding at catching the ball out of the backfield for their offensive coordinator. You see there, Mac Leftwich.
Leftwich, who leads this offense. They've outscored opponents by 383 points this year. Second and 5. Dickey off left tackle, just tripped up as he was trying to get that line to gain. It was Tanner Wall, the safety, making the tackle.
A few plays ago, we saw him just run right through Satuala, and that time he brushed off Logan Latui coming off the edge. Good, tough running, and right now Texas Tech trying to establish some physicality.
Morton on first down. That ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage and still almost was completed to Dickey, but it goes incomplete.
It was Bodie Schoonover who was able to get in the backfield there and get the tip. You see number 48. Keanu Tanuvasa, 57, gets the big paw up to knock that thing down. And still, it almost made it to Dickey.
Tanuvasa, 6'4", came over from Utah. A Utah transfer to BYU. Second and 10. Keep it on the ground and tackled for a loss. Satu Ala with a great play to bring down Williams.
Well, Satu Ala leads this defense with 71 tackles, and he just has great instincts. When he sees the blocks coming this way, he's able to fire into the backfield. That's called triggering. He just sees it right away, gets the tackle for loss, now setting up 3rd and long.
3rd down and 13. Timeout used by BYU. 3rd down and 13 as Satu Ala came up with the big TFL moments ago.
And you get the feeling like this is a big moment for BYU early in this game. Take a look at what their defense was able to do. The first time against Texas Tech, they actually forced 5 3-and-outs in that game. They also dropped 2 interceptions, and they were outstanding in the red zone. They feel like they did a good enough job to win that game. And for Kalani Sitake and this team in the rematch, you just want to be able to establish some momentum early. And if BYU, Joe, if they were able to get off the field here with a big stop on 3rd down, that's a great start, especially against this offense.
Opening drive of this championship Saturday. 10th play of the drive coming as Texas Tech in an empty set facing a 3rd and 13. Morton against a four-man rush. Shallow cross, and it was nearly picked off by Satu Ala. That was dangerous as it was bobbled and tipped by Williams, the intended target.
Well, Baron Morton had the look he wanted. He knew it was man coverage because linebacker Jack Kelly was lined up outside wide over Jacoby Williams here running the drag route. A bit of an errant throw, and you're right, Joe. Very lucky. When you throw the ball over the middle of the field, normally tips lead to picks. And that almost happened there for Baron Morton.
So Jack Burgess on to punt. Remember, in the first game, Parker Kingston muffed a punt early on that set up Texas Tech's first score. And fair catch just inside the 10. Jay Hill, the defensive coordinator for BYU, he had a sense this week that they'd come out and play well early. They get the stop on 3rd down. Roberts, the 6'4" redshirt senior.
Well, they bring Martin in, take the handoff, and that just freezes the linebackers for a second and allows Chase Roberts to win. A few weeks ago. Against UCF, really happy to get him back. He's a big body, Joe, 6'4". Remember, he scored the only touchdown for BYU the first time these two teams played.
Yeah, back on November 8th, came in the 4th quarter. So 18-yard reception to start Bachmeier's day. L.J. Martin now as he works his way out beyond the 35-yard line.
And that's good news for BYU because their identity is to run the football, and that's something they didn't do a great job of the first time these teams play. They only averaged 2.5 yards per carry, so one way or the other, whether it's running the football or whether it's quick throws like you saw in the very first play of this drive, they've got to keep these 3rd downs manageable. Right now, doing a good job.
Here's Martin on 2nd and 3, but he is met and tackled for a loss. Jacob Rodriguez making his first big moment of the afternoon. You will likely see many of them.
Yeah, and he's a guy coming off the edge, plays with tremendous instincts. He's coming from the left side of the screen, just shoots the gap and makes a tackle for loss. Now making this 3rd down just a little bit more interesting. And the big key for BYU, if this is a throw, can you protect Bachmeier against this pass rush?
With number 31, David Bailey, who leads the nation in sacks. See him on the right side of your screen in that sprinter stance. Here's 3rd and 4. Bachmeier's going to try to do it with his legs, and he does. It's a first down, BYU.
Well, that's on Texas Tech. They only rush 4, but they get out of their lane. And there's just a big crease here, and there's a big crease here for Bear Bachmeier to run through. And he is mobile. He's a big quarterback, too, at 6'2", about 230, 235. Not phenomenal top-end speed, but good, quick decision there on 3rd down to get north and move the chains.
Listen, he's thick. He's got that wide body. When he goes forward, you know he's gaining yards. Flea flicker, razzle dazzle as L.J. Martin cannot come up with the ball.
Well, that's a play that Martin has to be able to make. Offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick, after getting the first down with the scramble, decides to go with the trick play, but they did a good job covering this downfield. They were trying to get their tight end, Carson Ryan, down the boundary. Nothing there. Bachmeier checks it down quickly and makes the right decision, but in the end, falling incomplete.
And A.J. Holmes, the big defensive tackle, charging in on him. 2nd down and 10. Here's Martin trying to get upfield. Does have blockers in front. And that'll make it 3rd and about a yard and a half, as tackled by Roberts.
Well, I love that play call because the quick screen to L.J. Martin, that's essentially a sweep play. That's an extension of the run game, and you're just trying to wait to get this thing in position to keep the chains moving. Really nice call by Aaron Roderick. Something that we've seen with L.J. Martin throughout the year, lining him up at wide receiver. Very versatile runner that can get it done not just in handoffs, but catching the ball too.
And Roberts, by the way, is down at the end of that play. The other star linebacker who doesn't get as much attention or credit as J-Rod, but he's a big part of what they do defensively.
Welcome back to Dallas. We talked about how this D-line is outstanding in the pass rush. I think you could argue their starting 4 is as good as any in the country. It starts with the Stanford transfer, David Bailey, and his speed off the edge. Then you got the UCF transfer, Hunter, at 340 pounds, swimming the left guard, getting home in 2 seconds. A.J. Holmes transfers in from Houston, and he's got a quick first 2 steps, being disruptive in the backfield. And then the former Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, Romello Height, off the edge, quick first 2. He's got great bend in hands, getting the sack and creating a fumble. Joe, the portal has impacted this specific position group, I think, more than any other position group on any other team in the country.
Yeah, big reason why they've got that 4 next to their name, and they're playing for a conference championship today. Can they find a stop on 3rd and 1? Quick to the line, Bachmeier and the Cougars, and you see the true freshman quarterback trying to surge his way for a first down, and immediately it is marked as a first down, as we saw the official running in, giving that point.
It's nice to have a big quarterback, too. We were on the field pregame, and I asked him, I said, hey, how heavy are you?
Yeah.
And he goes, 230. And I paused for a second, and he goes, all right, 235.
You gave him the side.
No,
you gave him the really side.
I gave him an opportunity to really be honest, and he was. And we've seen some good physical running from him on this first drive.
Bachmeier threw it a little high for the intended target, Carson Ryan, who took a shot.
Yeah, he's trying to find Ryan there on the seam route, and it's Brendan Jordan at safety. He was able to go over, put a good clean hit right into the body of Carson Ryan. You know, that does not feel good.
That's one of those gasping for breath moments. It's Carson Ryan, their best overall tight end. Of course, they've had some great ones through the years. Young man who grew up right near campus at BYU, played at UCLA, then moved over to Utah, and then goes back home. Chris?
Tess, BYU's focus this week has been in starting fast, so much so that they changed the way that they format practice. They would do it, they would call it stretch and go to simulate getting off to a fast start. It's something that they have struggled with this year, particularly on some of these early morning kickoffs.
And Chris, we've talked about it all week in terms of the slow starts, and Jesse, the impact that has had on them. Of course, the one big slow start was the loss at Texas Tech. The rest of the way, they've had to come back with success.
It's happened at Colorado, and it's happened at Iowa State. It certainly happened in this matchup about a month ago. Even happened against UCF in their last game out too. But already you can see whatever they did in practice, mentally this team just seems a little bit more ready, a little bit earlier in this one on defense and on offense.
Yeah, against UCF, they were down by 14 and scored 31 unanswered. L.J. Martin in space, and that's exactly how they want to utilize utilize him. Tackled by Wisniewski.
I like what they're doing now. On their last 2 second and longs, they've thrown a quick pass to L.J. Martin. We saw the receiver screen before, and this time on the swing route, and there's a lot of space out wide that L.J. Martin is able to go take advantage of.
Well-managed current drive for BYU.
It's interesting, right? Very different tempos.
Yes.
You watch Texas Tech on offense, up-tempo, air raid going fast. BYU likes to huddle, and they run the football, short throws. They try to win the time of possession.
Officials are looking at the spot of this football. To the eye, it looked like perhaps he was just short. But they ruled it a first down. L.J. Martin, starting running back for BYU. Outstanding playmaker. This is where he goes down. You see the knee there.
And the question is, where's the football in relation to the chains and to the first down marker at that point when Wisniewski makes the tackle for Texas Tech?
L.J. Martin, who was initially committed to Texas Tech, by the way, and flipped his commitment to Stanford. Wound up at BYU.
Short of the line to gain. It is third down.
An El Paso native back here in Texas. And he's really the keystone for this offense to build some success today as they were marked as a 3rd and 1. And this time he's able to drive ahead and secure that first down.
Well, they bring in an extra offensive lineman, Trevin Ostler, 6'4", 320 pounds, number 95 there. He'll come into games, short yardage and goal line situations. They lined him up to the left side of the offensive line. That's exactly where they ran behind. And they're going to need all that beef in this game, too, because statistically, Texas Tech is the best run defense in college football.
BYU converts there. They're 3 for 3 on 3rd downs early on. They fake it, and it's a pass, and it's complete to Ryan. Parker Kingston with a completed pass to Carson Ryan.
Carson Ryan, who we saw slow to get up a few plays ago, does a really nice job here faking a block, and he's gearing down and then kind of gets out into the route. It's a good fake reverse by Kingston, and he's a lefty, so going to his left makes that an easier throw. In 2 plays on this drive, we've seen BYU and offensive coordinator Aaron Roderick dial up some trick plays.
He is the do-it-all kind of guy, is Parker Kingston. He's had a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a punt return touchdown in his career, and gets the completed pass for 22 yards there. And BYU is going to use their 2nd timeout already of this first half. We'll take a break in the midst of this long drive for the Cougars.
Texas Tech linebacker Ben Roberts spent a lot of time in the injury tent after this play. His teammate Cole Wisniewski fell on him while they tackled Bear Bachmeier. He warmed back up in the team box. He's returned to the field, guys.
They talk about him a lot. Rodriguez gets so much attention, but it's Ben Roberts who they feel is critical to what they do defensively. And now Texas Tech against this BYU offense that has marched down the field with a 12-play drive. Bachmeier, the big freshman quarterback, who's met right in that run-fit goal after a gain of just 1 by Ben Roberts.
But this drive is really synonymous with what BYU wants to do, right? They want to keep the ball, own the clock. This is now 13 plays on this drive, and they've done it running. They've had some quick throws to L.J. Martin. We've seen them be aggressive as well, Joe, with a couple trick plays, too. Just think, we were talking about this in the break. It shows you their mindset coming into this one.
Yeah, we were saying before kickoff, BYU wants to start this game where it feels like it's on their turn.
Yeah.
This is the kind of first quarter that feels that way as we're coming up close to 5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Scoreless for now. L.J. Martin right in. And that is the first time Texas Tech has allowed a point on an opening drive this season.
Well, BYU wanted to be the more physical team coming into this one, and that was a perfect example there. A great block by Carson Ryan at tight end. on the linebacker Roberts helps free L.J. Martin up, who had a great drive himself, running and catching the football.
Will Farron adds the extra point. Jesse, this is only the third game this season Tech has trailed in a game.
Yeah, that's Ryan right there, number 20, pulling around. He gets up into the hole and hits Roberts, and that just buys a little bit of space for L.J. Martin. And this is the physical nature of what BYU wants to do. Their identity is running the ball downhill, and they've got big bodies, and Martin at 220, Bachmeier at 235. Coaching staff at BYU were loving that. You could not draw up a better start, by the way, for BYU in this Big 12 championship on their defense's first drive and now on offense. 14 plays.
14 plays, 90 yards. Their sixth scoring drive this season of 13 or more plays. And that is how they open this Big 12 championship game. The time of the year when the coaching carousel is creating a lot of chaos, but not with BYU this week.
Listen, I know we talked about it yesterday and all that, but you don't need any more distractions, okay? You guys know we're working on all the details of pages and everything, but I'm not going anywhere.
Kalani Sitake making headlines this week, but wanted to put this to rest. He said, I was hoping these talks would wait to the end of the season. It did not. The players met on Monday to talk about it as a team to eliminate distraction. But Coach Sitake said there was no way this wasn't going to be a distraction. So BYU came to him with an offer that he thought was best for him and the team. And that was the reaction from his.
And Chris, is he ever a BYU guy through and through? Sakuraba with the tackle against Jacoby Williams.
Well, he's built this program. He understands the culture, having played at BYU, and it just feels right, him staying in Provo.
There's Morton, pressure off the edge as he gets it free, and it's incomplete, intended for Virgil.
And it was Latui that time. D-line, he's going to bail back out and get underneath this throw. Baron Morton trying to get out of his hands quickly. He's got a free rusher coming off the edge, and Isaiah Glasker. But a nice little zone blitz pressure dialed up by their D coordinator, Jay Hill. Now sets up a 3rd and long.
Third and 10 for Baron Morton. And that is complete to Reggie Virgil past midfield. A chunk play for Texas Tech.
A really nice job in pass protection that time, giving Baron Morton a nice clean pocket to throw into. And there's Reggie Virgil. I think he's their most explosive player on offense, running an in-breaking route. It took him a while to get there, but you see how dangerous he is after the catch.
30-yard reception. Cameron Dickey trying to get to that edge, and he goes ahead for a yard and a half.
You know, Joe, it's the most explosive offense in the country. 85 plays of 20 or more yards, and they can do it running, they can do it throwing, they excel at getting the guys the football in space, and it really is a pick-your-poison dilemma if you're BYU, because if you load the box to stop the run, you're dying at fast stats with these outside shots. If you play two high safeties, they're just going to run the ball down your throat.
Morton, he's going to go straight ahead. He's met after a gain of just 2 yards. Be facing a 3rd down again.
It was Isaiah Glasker that time that forced Morton to have to hold on to that football. Now setting up the 3rd down, and BYU that likes to play man coverage. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do here.
3rd down and 6. Morton is complete for a 1st down. And again, it's Reggie Virgil.
Well, that was a zone coverage, and Virgil did a really good job finding the soft spot in his zone. He's going to be just looking for this hole to work his way into, and once he finds it, he just sits there. You see number 1? Right around the outside of the linebacker, runs into the referee, but it's a big pickup on 3rd down. A great job of recognizing the coverage by the Miami of Ohio transfer.
See, Reggie Virgil, he was limping after that play, so he's off on the sideline. The fastest guy on the team, who has come up big 2 times on this drive, just had that 17-yard reception. Morton. Carter, the athletic tight end. It doesn't take much for him. Just a few strides, and he gets downfield. Katie.
Well, Tess, in the regular season meeting, Texas Tech went 2 of 7 in the red zone. Kicker Stone Harrington kicked 5 field goals that day. Since that game, the offense no longer calls it the red zone. They call it the no-stone zone. Stone's a great guy. They love him. They just don't want to see him that often.
Yeah, Katie, he's allowed to kick down here in this area of the field. It just has to be for extra points. That's the goal for the Red Raider offense this week.
There is Harrington, first team all Big 12, but right now it's the Red Raiders offense that wants to finish. And a timeout is used by Texas Tech. Well, of course, everybody tuning in here on this championship Saturday to say, how's everything going to break after weeks and weeks of debate? You know, we've got a game here that can simplify a lot of things.
I think so. I think the ACC championship is going to help us with the 11th seed and the 12th seed of the bracket. But I think this is the game that really determines Notre Dame and Miami. And if Texas Tech wins, all of a sudden that debate between Notre Dame and Miami comes a big thing. If BYU wins, though, those teams are out. And you get a new spot open in the top 4 as well. So lots still to be determined today. But no question, you're right, Joe. This game here, the Big 12 championship, it decides a lot.
Yeah, obviously, if you're Notre Dame, if you're Miami, if you're right there on the edge of the cliff, it's all about Texas Tech for you today. A BYU win in the Big 12 becomes a 2-bid league. Texas Tech secured their spot. BYU would be the automatic qualifier with a conference championship. Off the timeout, first down. See the finger pointing over at the Red Raiders side.
Offense number 70, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, they've had a couple issues early in this game with some false starts, and it's pretty loud here at AT&T Stadium, and that's the redshirt freshman right tackle Jacob Ponton. Just going a little bit early, and now backing up Texas Tech in an area that you absolutely do not want to be going backwards down here in the red zone. Or the no-stone zone, as they call it.
See the kicker Stone Harrington. Too much of him back on November 8th with the 5 field goal performance. They're looking for 7s. Out of the backfield is Dickey as he makes up for that lost yardage on the penalty. Tackled by Bamba.
There's a lot of viable targets for Texas Tech in this area of the field. One thing they have at receiver, Joe, is they have a lot of size. When you look at Virgil and you look at Eakin and Douglas and their tight end Carter, all of them 6'2" or taller, and that's a tough one-on-one matchup for these BYU DBs.
Second down. Dickey bounces to the outside and darts inside the 5-yard line where Maury Bamba runs him down again.
Well, he's a big physical runner, but he's got deceptive speed as well, and able to get to the outside and bounce that thing just outside of the corner. Bamba, and now you've got a big third down here in tight windows. These things open and close, and if you're throwing it and you're Baron Morton, the timing has got to be perfect.
You can hear from this crowd that has traveled for BYU. This isn't Lubbock anymore. Third down and 3. And again, the flag comes in.
It's going to be on the left tackle, I think, Howard Sampson.
False start. Offense number 79, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, guys, Joey McGuire's arguing with the officials. He's saying that BYU's clapping, which is throwing off his offensive line.
Well, that's something you can't do defensively, is you can't simulate a... That would be a penalty on the defense if, in fact, that was happening. But 3 false starts now for Texas Tech, and 2 of them have come down here in the red zone.
Third down and 8. Morton. Virgil is wrapped up immediately. That was Bamba securing him defensively, as well as Jack Kelly.
Well, we talked about the size that Texas Tech has at receiver. Bamba is built to handle that at 6'3", out there working one-on-one with Virgil. And A good job of just getting out of his break to throw a little bit behind Virgil that time, but able to slow him down before they make a tackle. They were outstanding in red zone defense in their first game, and they're off to another good start here.
And they are in the Stone zone. In fact, it's a 23-yard attempt for Stone Harrington. As we come to the end of the first quarter, BYU is trying to get themselves into the college football playoff. Texas Tech trying to get on the board here. The Big 12 championship returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Welcome back, Joe, with Kalani Sitake. The goal was to get off to a fast start. What has impressed you most about what your team has done that first quarter?
Well, they're good. They're playing physical. I like it. And, we just got to keep going. I mean, defensively, we got to get out third downs, but Texas Tech's a good team. We just got to keep it going. About 45 more minutes so we make it happen.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, that physicality has them with a touchdown lead for the moment. As Stone Harrington, who made a school record 5 field goals in the November 8th win against BYU, is on for this 23-yard attempt. And he puts it through. All right, let's go back to what Katie reported, that Joey McGuire was complaining about BYU defensively. There were 3 false starts in that first quarter, Matt Austin.
Yeah, Joe, after the second and the third, we got some pretty good replays through the replay booth feed. I didn't see any clamping at all. That's something we usually look for when you get multiple false starts. If it's happening, I'm not seeing it, so I'm not sure where it's coming from.
So that is our rules expert, longtime SEC head of officiating, Matt Austin. Jesse, Texas Tech, about 2.5 false starts a game this season.
Yeah.
3 in the first quarter alone.
Yeah, and it's been an issue. I think the silent count was something that they realized as a coaching staff they had to adopt, especially after they had 8 false starts earlier in the season playing on the road at Utah. And obviously you're not in the friendly confines of Lubbock. In this one, I'd say the crowd feels like it's 70-30 in favor of Texas Tech, but still much louder for them when they're on the field. And right now, offensively, their offensive line is having some issues, just trying to hold their water. We talked about Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker being an absolute turnover machine. He's forced 11 this year. He has tremendous instincts. And here on a tight end screen, he feels the right guard get downfield. He's able to undercut that and pick it off. 4 picks on the year. What really makes him special, I think, is his awareness and timing when he punches the ball out. Here's another tight end screen. Ball in the left hand, punches it with his right. He's got 7 forced fumbles this year, and as a linebacker, it's about see ball, get ball. You see the jet sweep coming, you feel the right tackle and tight end getting out wide, you beat a block, you make it home. This guy padding up the stats, he's padding up the awards as well, and I think deserving of an opportunity to be in New York City.
Bachmeier is driven back by that front as Height was the first to get there. Of course, Jacob Rodriguez always around it. You mentioned 7 forced fumbles by J-Rod. Just for perspective, 53 teams have 6 or fewer forced fumbles. Entire teams defenses, including BYU.
Well, some people just have a knack for always being around the ball. You know what it reminds me of? Remember Tyrann Mathieu?
Yes.
The Honey Badger of LSU? He was the same way. Coaches will tell you, you just can't coach that stuff.
2nd and 11. That is batted. As Texas Tech with Charles Esters batting that ball away.
So here's the situation BYU wanted to avoid, 3rd and long, and Texas Tech in this pass rush with Bailey and Hunter and Holmes and Height. They just line these guys up in the same spot they always line up in. Romello Height's into the boundary, Bailey's to the field. They don't have to blitz. They just get upfield with speed. Can BYU protect Bear Bachmeier?
Look at Romello Height off the edge on the bottom of your screen as they're just going to play it conservatively with L.J. Martin, and Lee Hunter gobbles him up. And now that Red Raiders defense is fired up, running off the field.
Big Lee Hunter, 340 pounds, is quick like a cat. He's able to split a little double team right here as they try to run this. And I think that play call just shows you the respect this BYU offense has for this pass rush at Texas Tech.
So Sam Vanderhaar on for his first punt of the afternoon. The 28-year-old Aussie. Jacoby Williams back to return for Texas Tech. They could have great field position. Williams, first wave of coverage, goes right past him as he takes it ahead and fights his way out just beyond the 38. Well, that Texas Tech defense responded. First team all Big 12. Lee Hunter coming up big. Well, AT&T Stadium, it's hosted every Big 12 championship since 2017. There's an agreement that extends to 2030. AT&T keeping you connected. Our bracket insights, Jesse.
Well, big one obviously down in Atlanta with Georgia and Alabama. Fun to watch that. Kirby Smart 1-7 all time against the Tide. And then there have never been more Duke fans today because every JMU fan out there is hoping for a Duke win, because if Duke does win that game, JMU will be in the playoff.
You can go to ESPN.com, fill in your own CFP bracket challenge presented by AT&T as Cameron Dickey takes it ahead for the Red Raiders.
It's such a unique offense whenever I watch Texas Tech, Joe, because they really are about power run, even though it's an air raid principal offense.
Dickey, as he is driven back that time to Mooney with the tackle.
When they line you up, they spread you out. They want to go fast in tempo, but they're not throwing it 50 times a game. Instead, it's plays like you just saw. It's downhill runs, and they're pulling offensive linemen. And they actually run the ball 48% of the time. They want to be physical, too. You've seen BYU be that, but remember, Texas Tech, they ran the football 43 times the first time these two teams played.
Third down, nearly tripped up was Dickey, but he's able to gain his footing and spin ahead as he goes past midfield for a first down.
And literally the same run play, 3 plays in a row. That's a simple zone scheme. It's designed to go to the right. Dickey sees the cutback to take it left.
Aaron Morton grew up locally in Lubbock as he connects with Dickey on the shallow cross, and he is tackled that time by Glasgow.
Well, it's a good job of seeing the linebackers bail out that time. It was Glasgow 16 that dropped back into zone coverage. You saw Aaron Morton, zero hesitation, just finding his check down right now, taking the profit, and now setting up 2nd and 3.
Morton leads the Big 12 in completion percentage. Dickey again is feeding that run game as he lowers the shoulders. They're going to mark him about a football length short of that line to gain.
That's not easy against this BYU front either, because Talmoy Piao and Tanuvasa, those are big bodies up front to move.
Quick to the line, and with it, they had plenty of space and a first down for Texas Tech.
Well, that time, Texas Tech was able to get that movement. They were able to get a block on big number 55. Talmoy Piao up front for BYU, and now you're seeing Texas Tech start to establish the line of scrimmage a little bit themselves. They're not going as fast. They're slowing down a little bit, but having a lot of success running the ball.
Also a nice job by the starting center, Sheridan Wilson, to seal on that last run. Here's Morton. Downfield strike, and brought in by Aiken. They're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line. Coy Aiken, Cowboy Coy.
Well, that play was made possible by Jacoby Williams picking up the blitz, gave Morton time to get this thing downfield to Aiken. Wow. Great job seeing it in, back shoulder. And the question is, did he get in?
Well, you hear the crowd reacting, and it looks clear as day that this is a magnificent touchdown by Coy Aiken.
Nice job by Morton, understanding where the one-on-one matchup was.
Completed catch and out of bounds at the 1-yard line. The previous play is under further review.
And I'm with you, Joe. Watching those replays back, it looks pretty simple. That's going to be a touchdown, I think, for Texas Tech.
Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. This seems very clear, Matt.
Yeah, Joe, you and Jesse are exactly right. He catches the ball, gets a foot down, all inside the pylon, never touches out of bounds until he gets to the end zone. So this will be a touchdown.
Cowboy Coy, his father is the rodeo coach at Tarleton State University here in Texas. So Coy Aiken grew up competing in rodeo, and boy, did he just rope himself a highlight there.
Well, we've seen Texas Tech get more and more aggressive throwing the ball. Remember, the first drive is a lot of short throws, trying to get Morton into a rhythm. But these last couple drives now, they're taking opportunities downfield.
Review. It has been ruled a completed catch for a touchdown.
Going back to this again, it was a great throw and catch, but it's Jacoby Williams getting the blitz pickup right here. Fantastic job getting Glasgow to the ground, and you saw Morton had to clutch it a couple times. And that gave him the opportunity to get this thing downfield. Great job high pointing it. And Texas Tech looking to take a 10-7 lead.
See Texas Tech showing that offset formation on PAT to see if they have the numbers there to snap. Instead, they bring it back in with Stone Harrington. But Coy Aiken with the 33-yard touchdown as Harrington adds the extra point. Aaron Morton, the strike downfield, and Texas Tech takes the lead. Texas Tech with a 10-7 lead here in this Big 12 football championship on a field that's very familiar to head coach Joey McGuire. He won a couple of high school state championships at AT&T Stadium with Cedar Hill High School years ago, and his offense just came out, looked excellent with the 33-yard touchdown to Coy Aiken. Coy himself has starred on this field as a high school player in Texas State football. 2021, a state championship. He had a 9-catch, 187-yard game that day, and he just had a magnificent 33-yard touchdown with great body control. So Bear Bachmeier back out on the field. Chris, what can you tell us about Bear?
Yeah, keep an eye on Bachmeier's left ankle. He got rolled up on this was the first possession for BYU. He came off the field limping, has been walking gingerly on the sidelines ever since, refusing really to even sit down. He's now heavily wrapped that left ankle. He's been walking back and forth, trying to test it, jumping up and down on the left leg, doing some side-to-side work.
Chris, it'll be interesting to see how that limits their play calling, because the run game, he's a big part of what they want to do, especially in between the tackles.
He will pass to open up this drive as he gets it to Kingston. Kingston able to jet around that corner. The former high school quarterback is Kingston, who had a 22-yard pass earlier.
But Bear Bachmeier really is one of the great stories, I think, this year in college football. And certainly one of the biggest surprises, right? They thought Jake Retzlaff was going to be their quarterback this year. He's now at Tulane, quarterbacking them into the college football playoff. All Bachmeier did was win the starting job as a true freshman. They tweaked the offense. They trimmed some of the verbiage, but he's accounted for 25 touchdowns this year, and here he is. He's got his team on the doorstep of winning the conference and reaching the playoff.
When the year started, he had enrolled at Stanford as L.J. Martin takes it ahead for a first down. Then Stanford had the coaching turmoil. He was a spring transfer to BYU. In the summer, he was named a starter after what happened with Retzlaff. And all he's done is going on to have this sensational true freshman year of leading the country among true freshmen in total touchdowns. He's accounted for a touchdown in every game this season. Again, they get it to Kingston. A lot of traffic against the boundary, just a couple of yards.
Well, I think you have to give offensive play caller Aaron Roderick a lot of credit, because he was able to adjust the offense with Bachmeier taking over. With Retzlaff, they wanted to go up tempo and throw it all over the yard. Now they're huddling. They're giving him a wristband to communicate the play to his teammates. It looks a lot different than what he was supposed to be.
He had pressure right in his face as L.J. Martin was the check down. It's going to be 3rd and about 7 from there.
So you got to figure this out now if you're BYU, and you're going to let Bachmeier throw it. He's a little bit hobbled right now because of that ankle. In the first game, they double-teamed the edges outside to try and block David Bailey and Romello Height. The problem with that, though, is they only got 3 guys out into routes and nobody was open downfield. How can they tweak their protection scheme to get more guys out and get more opportunities for open receivers?
There's the Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. 12.5 sacks for David Bailey. 3rd down and 7 for BYU. And the penalty flag comes in immediately, and it has gotten loud here at AT&T.
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
First BYU penalty of this championship game.
It's Isaiah Jada, the Colorado transfer, out at left tackle, and now even backed up even further. We saw earlier in this game on a 3rd and long, the last time out, they just handed it off. Do they have the confidence to let Bachmeier hold on to the football here and maybe throw this thing downfield?
Third down and 12. They go underneath to Martin, trying to set up the blockers, and he is met.
And, Joe, that's the advantage and the luxury of being able to rush the passer with only 4 guys, because you're going to get 7 in coverage. In a situation like that, everybody drops back into a big zone. Everyone's got their eyes on the quarterback. When this comes out of the backfield, you just keep it in front of you. You can all rally to the football, make a tackle, and get off the field.
Jacob Rodriguez, David Bailey, and that Texas Tech front 7. They are dynamite. Snap. Vanderhaar's a fake, and it's incomplete. Special teams coordinator Kelly Poppinga put in numerous fakes this week in practice, and they just tried to pull one off there on 4th down.
It was Bodie Schoonover who tried to sneak out of the backfield. Not a very accurate throw, but I don't know if that would have mattered anyway, because Texas Tech had a defender home. He's just going to try to sneak out here in the flat. The Texas Tech was ready for it. We've seen Kalani Sitake, Joe, aggressive early on offense with true trick play calls. Now you're seeing it on a fake punt. It goes incomplete. And there's the Texas Tech offense now right back on the field in BYU territory.
I spent some time with Coach Poppinga pregame. He said, listen, if they give the safe look we think, we will have that green light. They did there, but it's a turnover on downs. Kelly, one of the outstanding special teams coordinators in the country, his time at BYU and then UVA. Here's Morton now, back to business as he's rushed and just gets it away, and it was Latui getting pressure on Baron Morton.
Yeah, Latui's made a couple of plays early in this game, that time working against Howard Sampson, the UNC transfer over here at left tackle. And Sampson's 6'8". He's a big guy, and sometimes it's hard for him to get low. Just better leverage that time for Latui, able to force the errant throw.
So after the turnover on downs on the failed fake punt, here's Virgil on the inside screen, but he is tackled immediately by Raider Dumoni.
So this is another big moment now for BYU's defense as they substitute on their best pass rushers here on 3rd down. After the sudden change and the fake punt fail, how big would it be if they could get off the field here?
So all the movement up front as both lines were engaged on what was 3rd and 8. This could be on BYU.
Offside. Defense number 57 with contact. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Tanuvasa, number 57. Making this 3rd down a little bit easier now for Texas Tech and opening up the run game opportunity potentially for Cameron Dickey. And at this area of the field, Joe, I think if you're Joey McGuire and Texas Tech, you're basically in 4-down territory here. You're kind of in that no man's land.
3rd down and 3 after the penalty, after the turnover on downs, the failed fake punt. And the play call now goes to Dickey with the distance change of 3rd and 3, and with that, a chain mover, Texas Tech.
Well, they bring Terrence Carter Jr., a tight end, in motion. He's going to get a big wham block coming from this side and seal this so they can run it right up the middle of the field. That's Latui he's able to get on the block.
First down pass. It's overthrown, intended for the 6'4" Caleb Douglas. Johnson had coverage.
Well, Baron Morton's starting to feel it now a little bit more. You can see throwing the football with a lot of conviction down the field. And I think this coaching staff has done a better job in this matchup this year against BYU of just helping him get settled a little bit. They thought he was a little too juiced up the last time. Missed some throws downfield. Didn't give guys opportunities. Was holding on to the ball and getting sacked. But he's looking a lot better early in this one.
Carter in motion, the athletic tight end. He's going to block for Dickey, who tries to bounce it to the outside before he is tackled by Alexander.
So now you get into that third down situation again if you're BYU. They don't have a tremendous pass rush with just their D linemen. Oftentimes, it's linebackers having to block. Keep your eye on number 17, Jack Kelly. He had 2 sacks the first time these two teams played. An outstanding blitzer at the linebacker spot, lined up here.
Third and 8. Here is Kelly. As Morton tries to spin free, somehow stays on his feet before eventually Kelly corrals him.
Well, Kelly's 245 pounds, and his first 3 steps are so fast. He got all over Cameron Dickey really quick at running back, who just wasn't ready for the speed coming off the edge here. He forces Baron Morton to spin out of that. Obviously doesn't get the sack, but he makes the play, and that's a big one BYU needed. He is so good at blitzing, Joe. A guy that can cover, he can run, but 9 sacks on the season, the second most in the country for any interior linebacker.
So here's Stone Harrington again. This a 48-yard attempt. And this time, it's wide left. So the failed punt doesn't cost them. It's still 10-7, Texas Tech. It was no different. We have the most courageous fighter of all. Our MVP this year has been Carey, inspiring us every week, and we encourage all of you to give now to the V Foundation at v.org/donate.
Well, they're getting back to the run game here with L.J. Martin, and that's big. You go back to the very first drive, they went 14 plays and scored a touchdown. The thing they did best was avoid 3rd and long, where the pass rush for Texas Tech could not affect them. Now, they haven't been able to do that in these last couple of drives, so again, it's important on 1st and 2nd, whether you're throwing or running, you got to be getting some yards.
2nd and 6. Here's Martin. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
He's such a tough, physical runner and a guy that's always moving the pile. Leads the Big 12 in rushing yards, plays with great contact balance and low pad level. And he's a guy that can shoulder the load, too. He's a workhorse, Joe. And if they have to give him the ball 30-plus times in this game to win, they can do it because he's one of those guys who seems to get stronger as the game goes on.
Leads the Big 12 in rushing and broken tackles. Can he deliver here against that excellent front of Texas Tech? And he does. It's a 1st down for BYU.
Well, they brought on the extra O-lineman, Trevin Osler, at tight end. They're just trying to collapse the left side here to get this thing going north. And that's about 700 pounds at tight end and left tackle, getting a lot of movement against the Texas Tech defense, Joe, that's just giving up 68 rushing yards per game. They're not used to being moved around like that.
Keep it with Martin. And this time he's going to be tackled for a loss as David Bailey was pulling him back.
You know, it's amazing. I'm watching Bear Bachmeier after that handoff, and his bootleg, he's moving so gingerly. It doesn't even look like he can sprint or jog at a fast pace. And you just wonder how much that left ankle is bothering him that Chris had reported on a little bit earlier that he sustained on the first drive, because his mobility is not the same right now versus what it was at the start of this game.
Chris Budden's been monitoring that for the last few series. Jesse, you're taking note already here. 2nd and 11. How does it impact the true freshman? As Martin just about 1.5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
This is going back, and just kind of watching him here on this throw, everything's got to come out quick, and everything's going to have to be from the pocket. And even on that one there, he takes a tackle below the knee. Lucky that didn't re-aggravate anything.
Final seconds towards that 2-minute timeout are counting down. The young freshman quarterback in the Cougars.
Hello, Kevin in studio, getting ready for the Capital One halftime report. We're going to get you ready for the SEC championship game. Holly Rowe checking in. Alabama getting ready to face Georgia. Right now, you didn't like that fake punt by BYU. What do you like when you see the Cougars?
I love when BYU runs the football. Texas Tech obviously wants to rush the passer. How do you combat that? Run the football right at them. You got to earn the right to rush the passer. Make Texas Tech earn it.
Take the ball out of the quarterback's hands.
Exactly.
So you hear that? Take the ball out of the quarterback's hands. Back to you.
Well, look, here's an opportunity to rush the passer. 3rd down and 10, and there's the best in the business. And the snap goes back where Bachmeier just has to retreat and fall on it. So a disaster for BYU.
Well, Mitchell snaps it. It didn't look like Bachmeier was ready for it, and very lucky they were able to jump on this, obviously. Bachmeier's trying to give the O-line an opportunity to identify everybody and get the pass protection set, but a big error there. It's the miscommunication now. Brings out the punt team.
Texas Tech is going to use their 2nd timeout of this first half. The All-State playoff predictor, it really makes things simple for you when you frame the outcome of this game against the day that we are watching here on Championship Saturday before we get tomorrow's big news, and that is the impact on Notre Dame.
And I don't know if 85% is actually accurate if BYU loses, because I think there's a real conversation in the committee room between Notre Dame and Miami. What you do know, though, is that BYU wins this game, Notre Dame will not be in the playoff.
Sam Vanderhaar on again. Remember, it was a 4th and 6 when he threw an incompletion, a fake punt attempt. And now rugby style for the 28-year-old Aussie as it harmlessly falls between the hashes before it is downed.
Well, as we go back and take a look, how about that start for BYU? 14 plays capped off by L.J. Martin. A big physical run. Could not have started the game better for BYU. The offense, though, has lost their rhythm since, and we just saw a great grab by Coy Aiken down the right boundary over an outstanding corner, and Evan Johnson there to get Texas Tech up 10-7. Now a minute 42 seconds to go. 1 timeout in their back pocket, running at the tempo they run at. That's a lot of time for Baron Morton here to get this offense down for an opportunity to steal a few more points before halftime.
Here's Morton as he pumps, looking for an opportunity to connect with Terrence Carter as tight end, and he does over the middle.
You got to go fast. You got a kicker in Stone Harrington who hit a 58-yarder against Utah. So if you get somewhere near the 41-yard line of BYU, you're in business.
Going to run the ball here with Williams as Williams takes it ahead before he's tackled by Latui.
Well, and if that had been a first down, the game clock would have stopped momentarily here under 2 minutes to go in the half. So precious seconds still ticking away.
On 3rd and short, remember they do have the 1 timeout remaining as Williams had a cutback against the grain. Oh, the ball's out, and it goes right into the hands of Terrence Carter.
It was Tanner Wall from BYU who came in and forced the fumble, and it takes an unbelievable bounce right into Terrence Carter Jr.'s hands. BYU fans can't believe it.
This is a play that could have been a tackle for loss. Instead, it's Texas Tech all the way down to the 25.
It was a great individual effort there by Williams just to get into the 2nd level, and a very, very lucky bounce for the Red Raider offense.
Texas Tech, 30 seconds.
So the final timeout is used by Texas Tech. Let's go back and look at this wild play here.
It's crazy because you're right. This should be a tackle for loss for BYU. Then it's a big play for Texas Tech. It becomes an even bigger play because the fumble actually advances forward, and Carter's able to scoop it and get it down near the 25-yard line. We're talking about Stone Harrington, a kicker, Joe. From the 40. you're in his range, and now you're easily within that at about the 25-yard line. What a big-time play for Texas Tech here at the end of the half. Remember, it's BYU receiving first in the second half.
Remember, this was the short attempt to start the day for Stone Harrington. And then his second attempt from distance was missed left. He had made 5 field goals, a school record, in the first matchup against BYU back on November 8th. But after that bounce of the ball, they're all the way down to the 25 already. Morton, he's being pressured. No timeouts remain for Texas Tech as he is tackled at the 22-yard line by Miles Hall.
You got to go. You either got to clock this, you got to do it quickly. Remember, Texas Tech has lots of size outside at receiver, an opportunity for Morton to throw this thing up.
Downfield strike, and that's incomplete, looking for Douglas, who was covered by Johnson.
And it was good coverage by Johnson that time. He was the guy who got beat on the Aiken touchdown, and he's their best corner outside. He's working against the big 6'4" receiver. There's a little bit of contact, obviously, but I think when you turn your head to try and locate the football, that oftentimes encourages referees to leave the flag in their pocket.
You hear the reaction from the Texas Tech fans. .29 seconds in this first half, and a 3rd down and 7 for the Red Raiders. BYU drops 8, and that was well off the mark. Terrence Carter was underneath, but Morton threw it beyond him.
Yeah, you normally don't see Morton miss throws that badly, and with that incompletion, it's going to set up a field goal attempt here for Stone Harrington.
Long, they talked about staying out of what they called the no-stone zone. They wanted 7s, not 3s. This from 40. Good elevation and rotation, and with that, a 13-7 lead for Texas Tech. Well, we've told you it's been an outrageous season by Jacob Rodriguez. Last night he won the Buckus Award, and then on game day this morning, this happened when Pat McAfee said, how about $250,000 for charity?
Dink.
Oh, well, and he wins it.
You got to remember, he was a quarterback at Virginia. And I know that wasn't the prettiest ball, but $250,000 is pretty pretty. Get an opportunity to donate that to the charity of he and his wife's choice. How about the Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George, Chris Button, Positano Fund? Would be a worthy cause.
Well, Emma Rodriguez, who is his wife, a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter pilot, he said Emma's going to get the honor to put it forth to a military charity, and we just feel great about that. $250,000. We thank Pat McAfee and everybody's efforts for creating that opportunity. It'll be money that's well served helping our veterans and our service members.
Well, it was a bit of a slow start for Texas Tech in that first quarter. It definitely feels like they're coming alive here as this game goes on, able to pad their lead a little bit. That last field goal and their defense after that first drive, you see what they've been doing. Wow. It's been a complete shutout. 3 drives, 20 total yards allowed. Look at the penetration. 4 tackles for loss.
3rd best scoring defense in all of major college football. L.J. Martin ahead for a few yards.
It's going to be interesting to see what BYU is able to do offensively to try and open it up. With Bachmeier right now, who's just limping every time he hands it off or drops back to pass. See what this offense looks like. Remember, they're getting the ball first in the second half. 1 possession game. If you're Kalani Sitake and BYU, you've got to like.
Watching Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
And we're Jones Big 12 football championship game as part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer in the booth with you. 13-7, Texas Tech. BYU's going to get the ball here, Jesse. They had that opening drive where they came down, had the L.J. Martin touchdown, but then they didn't cross midfield after that first drive.
That's right, they did. They started off doing a great job, I think, being physical, running the football, and finding some short throws as well. But I think Texas Tech's defensive line now has started to take over, gotten a lot more penetration. Curious to see what this BYU offense looks like here early in this half.
And let's remind people at what's at stake here, because this is the game that determines so much.
Texas Tech wins this thing. They're going to secure a first-round bye. You keep the window open for Notre Dame or Miami to get into the playoff as well. BYU wins, though. Notre Dame and Miami are out. You'll have two Big 12 teams going to the playoff, and there's going to be a spot open in the top four. So this second half right here, Joe, in the Big 12 championship game, this is going to help clear up a lot of the college football playoff picture.
Sold out here at AT&T Stadium. They have been roaring since the 11 a.m. local kickoff. BYU offense. And they get back to the way they looked on that opening drive. Of course, Bear Bachmeier, their true freshman quarterback, saw him banged up. That is a concern. Chris Button, what can you tell us?
Well, I asked Kalani Sitake how Bear Bachmeier was doing, and he said he'll be fine. Pain is what you sacrifice if you want to play this game. I watched Bachmeier coming out of the tunnel and warming up. He was still testing that heavily wrapped left ankle. He was wincing at times, but he is going to try and give it what he got. Sitake also told me, the message to my team is, I need you to act like this is the last 30 minutes of football you will play in your entire life.
Yeah, Chris, just watch him kind of burst out onto the field right there. It's probably the best I've seen him since that injury, but it'd be interesting to see how it affects this play call.
Going to open up the second half with a completed pass to Chase Roberts.
I like that idea. The ball's going to have to come out quick because with that injury, I don't think you can move the pocket, and I don't think you're going to have any QB runs anymore in your game plan, too. So if you are throwing it, you got to have a plan to get it out quickly, get it in the hands of your playmakers. That's a good call there by Aaron Roderick, who you see their play caller offensively.
That distinct number 47. You talk about pain being the sacrifice when it comes to moments like this. Well, remember, he wears that for a reason. L.J. Martin played linebacker and running back in youth football. His dad said 47. That's for the most physical players, and Bear bought in at a young age and has kept it.
Well, that's a toughness, too, Joe, that I just think resonates with his teammates. They know, everybody in that huddle right now knows that he's not 100%. And I guarantee you, Bear Bachmeier is not the type of player who's going to use it as an excuse or as a crutch. He wants to compete. This team and this offense rallies around him. Him playing with this, it galvanizes this offense.
First down, and here he is. Oh, look at that. You want to talk about physicality. He just ran over Ben Roberts.
And Ben Roberts is a 6'3", 240-pound linebacker. And you talk about galvanizing your offense. It's a play like that that'll do it. Just lower the boom, fall forward. You can't ask anything more. The definition of toughness you're seeing from BYU's true freshman quarterback right now.
May only be 6 yards, but it really tells you where he is right now, starting this second half, compared to where he was in that second quarter. Second and 4. That was dangerous as he was trying to get it to Moa. Katie.
Well, Tesh, Joey McGuire said we're in the middle 8, meaning the last 4 minutes of the first half, first 4 minutes of the second half. He said these 4 minutes are critical. We need to stop. Here's a 3rd and 2. He said we're a simple program. We stick to our plan. We don't divert from it.
No, they don't, Katie. And so, you know, on this 3rd down, it's just going to be a 4-man rush. That last play was Romello Height getting pressure on Bear Bachmeier. They only blocked him with the right tackle. What do you do if you're BYU? Do you chip with tight ends and running backs here to try to give Bachmeier some time?
3rd down and 4. Let's get the answer. Bachmeier. Oh, flags come in.
False start. Offense number 61. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
A little flinch that time by Waylon Lapuaho. He missed the last 2 games because of injury at left guard. They're happy to have him back here in the lineup. But we've seen false start penalties for both of these offenses early, Joe, and I think it's really important in a one-possession game like this. Obviously, you have to cut those mental errors out.
That's a big reason why you see the pre-snap penalty. Roaring fans on a championship Saturday.
The previous play was an incomplete pass. Please reset the game clock to 13:11. 25 on the play clock. We'll start on my signal.
BYU and Texas Tech. The winner here will be the 6th different Big 12 champion in the last 6 years. Jacob Rodriguez, arguably the best defensive player in all of college football, won the Butkus Award last night. Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. 7 forced fumbles on the season. And a great front for Texas Tech, looking for a stop here on 3rd and 9. Bachmeier. Shallow cross underneath Kingston, and look at Parker Kingston. First down, BYU.
How about that? You set up Kingston on the receiver screen, and you're releasing Bruce Mitchell, the center, 63 downfield to get some blocks. He's able to get underneath of all of it in front of the linebackers, make somebody miss. And that's a big explosive play for this offense. They know they can't hold it very, very long. It's got to come out fast. And the screen, always a good decision, an idea. You're going up against a good pass rush.
There is Mitchell, the converted defensive lineman. He switched to O-line before the 2023 season, so you see that athleticism he has. Oh, tackled for a loss. Blown up immediately by Bryce Pollock.
Really nice job by Pollock, IDing this and beating a big receiver in JoJo Phillips at 6'5" to the football. Pollock has been doing this all year. Not only has he picked off 5 passes, he's been tremendously physical and making tackles, and that's why he's a first-team All-Big 12 cornerback.
That is the 5th tackle for loss by Texas Tech today. Empty set on 2nd and 16. As he hooks up and connects with Chase Roberts.
Well, I know it's a little completion. It's not a ton of yards, but BYU went empty that time. They only blocked with 5 guys. I know that was a concern coming into this one. We talked about them wanting to get more receivers out into routes. You can't do that if your tight end and running back is always in the backfield chipping and helping block. So that's a little win there for BYU's offense and certainly their O-line.
Wani Sitake. He has had great faith in his true freshman quarterback all year long. Now trailing in the second half of the Big 12 football championship as they keep it on the ground. L.J. Martin's going to give him a first down.
Well, you highlighted Bruce Mitchell, the center, earlier on the screen, getting out. Here he gets a nice block on Rodriguez, who's trying to blitz right up the gap. He's going to wall that off. The converted D tackle gets his hands on him and just gives L.J. Martin a little bit of space, a little stiff arm. He's able to move the sticks. Really impressed here. The first drive of the game and now the first drive of the second half. BYU has been able to execute. They've got it going right now, both running and throwing the football.
13 carries for Martin, 6 receptions. You brought it up earlier. If he's touching the ball a lot, BYU will have things on their terms. First down, a lot of traffic as Moa was the option for Bachmeier, who was thrown back.
Well, you don't see a lot of blitzing. We keep talking about this D line. That time, though, defensive coordinator Sheil Wood, he brings the corner off the edge, and it's Pollock, which they don't do a ton on film. I don't know if BYU was expecting that. Bachmeier, very lucky, he was just able to get rid of that thing and throw it forward. If that had been a lateral, that would have been a live ball.
Pollock, one of the best corners in the entire Big 12. And he is making an impact early on here in this third quarter. 10th play of this drive coming for BYU. Bear Bachmeier, who injured his left ankle earlier today, trying to lead this team here. L.J. Martin cannot find anything against the middle of that defensive line.
Well, this is a really good run defense, and they've got big bodies up front. They average 6'3", 280 across the board. They eat up blocks, and that time that allowed Jacob Rodriguez to get through the wash and make a big tackle, now setting up 3rd and long. And another question now for Aaron Roderick, the offensive play caller for BYU. How do you choose to scheme up this pass rush? How many guys can you get out? And can you give your QB an opportunity to get rid of the ball?
3rd down and 9. David Bailey, you know he loves this down and distance. The edge rusher going to test that left tackle here. Bachmeier back to pass. Bailey's right in his face as they tried to go underneath to Kingston, but it's incomplete.
Well, they're trying to run their screen again to Kingston coming underneath. They ran it right into a blitz, and Roberts here coming on the blitz. He kind of disrupts the timing of this as he's shooting the gap right there. Gets a little bit of a nudge on Parker Kingston, and the ball falls incomplete. And that's one Bachmeier had to get rid of. You were talking about Bailey, Joe. Does not take him a long time to get to the quarterback off the edge.
The redshirt senior Will Farron comes in for the 46-yard attempt. And that was not well struck at all. So a missed opportunity for BYU. Will Farron couldn't connect from 46 yards out. And our score remains 13-7, Texas Tech.
His teammates have played in this building in high school state championship semifinals. Baron Morton and his father, James Morton, never had the opportunity when James was coaching his son at Eastland High. Baron said he called his dad earlier this week and said, "Dad, we're finally playing at AT&T, a special moment for the Morton family test."
Is it ever? James, who coached Baron at Eastland High School. And Katie, how about yesterday when we were meeting with head coach Joey McGuire, the emotion that was captured when he was talking about James and Baron and what this means to Joey himself? There's Williams on 2nd and 8. Oh, he kept his balance.
Well, Tess McGuire said, I mean, think about what this would mean to have a Lubbock native help this team win its first Big 12 title. McGuire said this kid has been doubted. He's persevered. He's fought through injuries. He embodies toughness. He's played at a high level. I thought McGuire's emotion said it all.
And he's able to connect, Jesse. After that great run by Jacoby Williams, he connects with Aiken.
What did his dad say to Joey McGuire? When we win this one, I want a photo of you walking off the field with my son. And that almost brought Joey McGuire to tears. I mean, talking to us, he understands everything he's been through throughout his collegiate career and this opportunity and what it means to him.
2nd and 5. Here's Virgil. And Virgil stretches out just beyond midfield. He's tackled by Alexander.
Yeah, Virgil's been the guy in the pass game. That's now his 6th catch for Texas Tech, and they're finding different ways to get him going. He's a size-speed matchup problem for BYU.
Williams again, and Jacoby Williams is having a good drive here.
Well, it's such a good duo they've got with Dickey, and then you've got Williams, and you're starting this thing inside, and you're able to bounce this thing outside. He's got a little bit more burst and a little bit more speed than Dickey, and really good feet. Obviously had the fumble there at the end of the first half. Ball security is going to be at the top of his mind, but you can just see so explosive. And I'll tell you too, Joe, he's a big weapon in the passing game. You can throw him the ball down the field.
And good in special teams as well to motion him to be a receiver. And now Cameron Dickey comes in for Williams.
Snap infraction. Offense number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So much at stake here in the Big 12 championship game. A playoff spot on the line for BYU. A top 4 seed. A bye on the line for Texas Tech. And, of course, for Notre Dame and Miami. They're sitting back knowing exactly what a BYU win would do to those sitting close to the edge, right on the bubble. 1st and 15. That is incomplete. Couldn't connect with Douglas.
Well, that's a name you haven't said enough so far in this game. The Florida transfer has been a big weapon for Texas Tech, especially in the second half of the year, especially catching balls deep down the field. This time they bring the tight end Miller in motion to get a block, and that goes right through Douglas's hands. He doesn't have a catch yet in this game, and for this offense to reach full capacity, they need number 5 making plays vertically down the field.
Yeah, consider he's 4th in the Big 12 in receiving yards, top 7 in touchdowns. 2nd and 15. Morton looking to extend the play, direct traffic, and he does so and does connect with Caleb Douglas just when they needed it.
Well, it's a great job by Morton that time, pointing Douglas back to the sideline on the scramble drill. He's going to work this way. Watch his body language here. As Douglas curls, he just points him to break out of it, and 2 guys on the same page working to find open space, and finally they get Douglas going.
So a 23-yard reception, and it's a first down. The 22-yard line of BYU for Tech.
Oh, that might be live.
It is not. They're saying it was a forward pass, but it was so awkward to fake the pitch and then balloon that ball in the direction
it was just
of the running back.
Very nonchalant on the throw, and a very dangerous throw. You had a BYU defender outside. It was Tavion Beasley that was in position to maybe make a play on this. Watching this again, I'm just surprised. It's just sort of the nonchalant, this whole thing. I mean, that to me looks like, I'm watching it live, I thought that might be a fumble.
Second and 10. They go with the reverse motion with Carter. And just goes ahead for a yard and change. Tackled by Satuala.
Well, they're inching close now into the red zone, and this was the area of concern for Texas Tech from the first game. Remember, only 2 of 7 scoring touchdowns. They're 0 for 1 so far in this one as well. They've got to find a completion here. Help cap this drive off, keep this thing going.
Dickey and Williams in the backfield together, and now all of a sudden Dickey splits out to the top of your screen on 3rd and 8. There's the red zone number on the season. Morton on 3rd and 8, as it's going to be short of the line to gain by Reggie Virgil, who was tackled by Dunlap.
Well, it's a nice little double move by Virgil. He's going to start going out, and then he's going to whip around back inside and cross Jaden Dunlap's face. Now setting up 4th down, and Texas Tech's offense staying on the field.
They're 59% on 4th down this season. 10 of 17.
We've seen BYU be aggressive. Trick plays on offense, a fake punt. Now it's Joey McGuire's turn for Texas Tech.
4th and 2. Now Dickey's going to take the direct snap and give it back to Morton. Morton on 4th and 2. It's incomplete. They gave the Wildcat look only to give it back to Baron Morton, and it's a turnover on downs.
Well, you got to give BYU's corner, Evan Johnson, in the back end. He was not fooled by the trick play action, and Baron Morton going in motion, getting the reverse. He stays on the back end. He's up here working in coverage. Texas Tech fans want pass interference here on this. There was definitely some touching and grabbing going on back there. But in the end, it's a no call. And the gamble falls short, and we still have a 1-possession game.
BYU's ball when we return.
On 4th down. Take a look at this again. Evan Johnson at corner. It looked to me like he grabbed the face mask there of Caleb Douglas. He was pulling on his right arm. There was no pass interference called. I think there should have been, but that was a missed call.
Sione Moa barely had a chance, but somehow gains a yard. Matt Austin, what do you think?
Yeah, Joe, I agree with Jesse. There's a lot of contact here, and especially when you get up into the head. I have a feeling the reason it wasn't called is because the ball was thrown short and it bounced well short of the receiver. It had been close. I think he'd got a flag.
It was a turnover on downs moments ago. Bear Bachmeier being pressured. He escapes. Remember, he's dealing with that left ankle as he makes his way to the 20-yard line. It was J-Rod with the tackle. Katie.
Well, Tessman, Caleb Douglas came off to the sidelines. He said to Baron Morton, you got to throw the ball up in the air. Let me go make a play.
Instead, it was thrown well short. And now a 3rd down and 4, so an opportunity for the Texas Tech defense to give the ball right back to Baron Morton.
First charge timeout, BYU.
Well, BYU is going to use a timeout facing this 3rd and 4. Back to the Big 12 championship after this short break. College football playoff rankings. Look at the brackets brought to you by AT&T.
Well, the ACC championship game will help determine these 2 seeds here. Our game in the Big 12, though, will determine a little bit more of a controversial topic. If Texas Tech wins, the debate is it Notre Dame? Is it Miami? If BYU wins, Notre Dame and Miami will be out. Texas Tech will fall out of the top 4. A lot to be determined.
Lots to be determined right here. 3rd down and 4. Bachmeier with time. Oh, what an interception by Roberts! Point blank stabbed it. Ben Roberts. Just the 5th interception thrown by Bachmeier this season, and Ben Roberts comes up big.
He looks like he was about to start rushing, and then he just stopped at the last second, watching Bear Bachmeier just floating to his left. This is an unbelievable job of timing the jump, batting it with his right hand, then making the catch and advancing the football. It's a defense with 27 takeaways coming into this game, 2nd best in college football. And Ben Roberts, a freshman All-America a year ago, comes up with a massive takeaway here.
What a play. And now Dickey right in! Cameron Dickey!
It's a great job by Davion Carter, the right guard. He's only 6 feet tall, 295 pounds, but he's an excellent puller. They go wildcat right to Dickey. They tried 4 of these wildcat plays. The first time they played BYU earlier this year, none of them had that kind of success, though. When you talk about sudden change, getting the takeaway, and the very next snap, Cameron Dickey takes it in for a touchdown.
And with a 19-7 score, the offense is on the field going for 2. Try to make it 21-7. How quickly things can change. BYU facing a 3rd down. 2 plays later, it's Texas Tech.
And they're going for 2.
Try to make it 21-7. And Carter's going to do just that. Terrence Carter takes it in.
They throw the tight end, the quick screen. He runs right through the tackle of Isaiah Glasker. And what a sequence of events. First, it's Ben Roberts getting the big interception on an incredibly athletic play, batting this thing down and coming away with a pick. The very next snap, it's Cameron Dickey in the Wildcat on a power run off the right side of the offensive line. Then they get the 2-point play to Terrence Carter Jr. College football, it's a game of momentum, and all of it has swung to the side of Texas Tech.
Three straight plays in a completely different game all of a sudden.
Well, really, Joe, when you think about Texas Tech's defense in this game, after the opening drive, they've been lights out. And after getting the takeaway here, you see Cameron Dickey, who's had himself a very nice ball game, leads the Big 12 in rushing touchdowns, and then spitting it out to a first-team All-Sun Belt Conference player a year ago in Louisiana. And the physicality after the catch by Terrence Carter Jr. and the sideline for Texas Tech, man, it has just come alive.
Their best season in 17 years. And if this score holds up, it's going to feel even better. L.J. Martin now is met and driven back by the best linebacker around, J-Rock.
If you're Kalani Sitake, you've got to find a way. Your offense has to find a way to respond here. And obviously, it's a 2-touchdown game. It doesn't mean you have to throw it every single play, but there is a different sense of urgency right now. And I think BYU fans, they're starting to feel that.
All of a sudden, it turns into a whole lot of hope for those BYU faithful. 2nd and 9. Martin. Just a couple yards. Chris?
Bear Bachmeier becoming increasingly more frustrated in his inability to operate at 100%, constantly testing that left ankle. And on the sidelines, the coaching staff trying to remind this offense, we've been in this position before. Let's just settle down.
Well, he's trying to gut it out, Chris. The good news for him is the injuries to the left ankle, which means as a right-handed quarterback, he can still drive off the right foot. It shouldn't affect his velocity too much. The question, though, can they give him a clean pocket to throw into?
3rd down and 6. That was out to JoJo Phillips, the 6'5", 200-plus receiver, and it's incomplete.
And that's Cole Wisniewski, the transfer from North Dakota State, buzzing over. That was a good throw with a lot of velocity there by Bachmeier, but the 6th-year senior who won 2 national championships at North Dakota State, I think really an unsung hero in this Texas Tech defense, and he does a great job closing the space and knocking that one loose.
So Vanderhaar comes out to punt again. He can punt with both his right and his left. Rugby-style Aussie, 28 years old, as he drives the ball downfield, but it takes a Texas Tech bounce. Settles in there to 33. Well, you know what is set to come your way next. It is the SEC championship game in Atlanta, Jesse. Alabama and Georgia are going to do it again. Ty Simpson, a star quarterback for the Tide.
Well, you know, it's a big game because he's going double-breasted pinstripe, so he's ready to roll. You know, a big key, I think, in that first one, Joe, Alabama winning on the road. They were outstanding on offense on 3rd down. They went 13 of 19 on 3rd down, able to stay on the field, come up with big plays. But if you've been watching Georgia in the second half of the season, they've been a little bit more creative in their 3rd down pressure packages. They've gotten a lot better in that area.
Williams, great move, and another first down for Texas Tech. Jacoby Williams has been running the ball well.
Well, he's shown tremendous patience and finding the holes and just good feet, being able to laterally cut and then get into the second level.
After the 12-yard run, now Williams taking his time, patiently looking for something on the right side.
They've got a really good duo in Dickey and Williams. And Dickey's more physical, Williams a little bit faster. Both guys can catch the football, but it's amazing because they lost the school's all-time leading rusher in Taj Brooks. And these two as a duo have actually outproduced Brooks from last year. They're a better running offense. They've got a great two-headed monster back there.
They're one of only 5 Power 4 teams with duos of 700-plus rushing yards. That time tackled by Asira.
Well, they've recruited well. Both guys true sophomores who didn't redshirt a year ago. And remember, it was USC transfer Quentin Joyner who was supposed to be the starter at the beginning of the year. They lost him to an ACL injury back in August. These two young running backs have been getting it done.
Final half minute of this 3rd quarter. And Texas Tech facing a 3rd and 7. BYU desperate for a stop. Morton downfield. Batted away at the last second by Evan Johnson as Morton was trying to connect with Caleb Douglas.
Well, Evan Johnson has been involved in some one-on-one wars outside. He gave up the touchdown earlier to Aiken. Here he is on Caleb Douglas again, who he was able to get the incompletion against on the fourth down. And a nice job. I thought Douglas got behind him there, but he located the ball at the last second. High points it, knocks it away. A guy with 4 interceptions on the season. One of our impact players in this game makes a huge play there on third down.
Burgess on the punt away for just the second time this afternoon. And return from Kingston from inside his own 10-yard line. The Taco Bell Live Más Student Section. Only one student section can claim the title of Live Más Student Section of the Year. Who's going to take home that trophy this year? Listen, you get to championship Saturday and the neutral site atmosphere, but this game, a sellout at AT&T, and it has been roaring with these two fan bases who it would mean so much to win a conference championship for these programs.
I think that's part of what's so exciting. And this will be the 6th different champion in the Big 12 the last 6 years. And you get two fan bases that have never been to this game before, never won a conference championship here in the Big 12 before, and so a little bit of a different energy here today.
Can BYU gain any momentum back? Final seconds of the third quarter. Bachmeier, as he gets it complete to Kingston for a first down.
And a nice pocket that time, drifting to his right. Good velocity on the throw again, accurate to Kingston. That's a good start to this drive.
So they're trailing by 2 touchdowns with a playoff spot on the line. The Big 12 championship returns after this message and a word.
Arlington on the sidelines with Joey McGuire. Coach, momentum change like that. How pivotal was Ben Roberts' interception?
Yeah, that was huge. You know, we went for it on fourth down. We didn't convert. You know, and the defense came out and made a huge interception. And, man, those linebackers, the mustache crew, that's what they do.
Thanks for the time.
You bet.
Yeah, the stash crew, as there is Ben Roberts, who had the play of the game that turned everything around. And now we start this fourth quarter with Bachmeier and BYU on offense on first down. There's a shot downfield. Seemed like a lot of contact, and yes, Pollock is going to get flagged. Chase Roberts was the intended target.
Pass interference. Defense number 14. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Texas Tech fans are mad because they feel like they should have had a couple of calls earlier in this game go their way. A little bit of a shirt pull and kind of wraps him around his waist. That's a tough matchup, obviously, for Pollock going up against a 6'4" receiver in Chase Roberts.
A tender left ankle on Bear Bachmeier, the true freshman quarterback. Been fighting through the pain. And now trying to fight back. Throw! Ball is out! That whole thing just exploded. And Romello Height recovers it. It was A.J. Holmes who burst through and forced it.
Well, they're pulling their right guard, support check.
Recovered by Texas Tech. First down.
Safarchuk's going to pull here at right guard, and that's the gap that A.J. Holmes is able to just shoot through. So quick and explosive out of his stance, and he just completely messes up the timing of the handoff or the fake handoff or whatever that was supposed to be. And now 2 critical takeaways for Texas Tech here in the second half is just changing the complexion of this game.
If you want to know why Texas Tech is a national title contender, look no further than the sudden impact plays of the front 7 on defense. We saw it with Roberts. You just saw it with Holmes and Height. And now Williams takes it to the 20-yard line.
No position group has been impacted more by the portal than this D-line. It's affecting them in the run game and the pass game. Consider this. Texas Tech went from number 122 in the country in scoring defense to number 3 this year.
Incredible.
They're getting up 24 points less per game. And yes, they have Rodriguez. They've got some outstanding players on defense, but it's really because of these defensive line portal additions.
Aaron Morton on 2nd and 6 as Williams is wrapped up right away by Johnson.
You take a look at the additions that they made, and you have to give their general manager, James Blanchard, a lot of credit because he went out and he identified some big-time players. Bailey coming from Stanford, Height coming from Georgia Tech. Lee Hunter started his career at Auburn with Gus Malzahn, followed him to UCF. Then A.J. Holmes played at Houston for their current defensive coordinator, Sheil Wood, who is back at Houston, brings him over with them. And it's just completely changed this defense.
As has the Matador Club, the booster club that has put forth millions to fund these football student athletes and the success that they want to see on the field as Morton is wrapped up. I think everybody who follows the sport closely knows the name Cody Campbell. And that defensive line,
well, that was a
putting
stop.
A smile on his face.
Well, that was a stop just there by Schoonover getting a sack that they needed badly, because you feel like if Texas Tech scores a touchdown there, this thing becomes a 21-point game. Just feels like it's over. So I think that play there by BYU in another sudden change situation, after giving up the takeaway deep in their own end, helps calm the bleeding a little bit, but now there's tons of pressure on BYU's offense to respond.
44-yard attempt by Harrington. And it's 24-7. Another big play by the Texas Tech defense. It was A.J. Holmes forcing the turnover as Romello Height jumped on it. For 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the University Athletic Scholarship Fund, supporting all student athletes, and we always thank Allstate for that. 24-7 here. Texas Tech, if they hold on, Jesse, you know what it means. Top 4 seed, first round bye, and then the way things will play out down the ladder for those teams right on the edge of making the college football playoff. The success of Texas Tech, well, it has been a boom. The #1 portal class in the country. We've seen how it affects the defensive line, the scoring offense top 3, the scoring defense top 3. And with that, 11 wins, tying the program record for most wins in a season.
Keep waiting for Daniel Day-Lewis to come out and start screaming. There will be blood in that, but you can see it. The talent they've been able to infuse, not just through high school, but with the portal, 2 great additions to their staff as the O coordinator and D coordinator, and they're humming.
Bachmeier. It is intercepted again! Ben Roberts does it again!
Well, Ben Roberts just follows the eyes of Bear Bachmeier. He's trying to throw it down the middle of the field to JoJo Phillips. This was just too easy. The eyes come down here. He's just going to drop and takes him right to the football. The second interception of the game. It's funny. Jacob Rodriguez comes in. He's got all the accolades. He should be a Heisman finalist. He's the Butkus Award winner. But the interior linebacker that's made the most plays in this one is big number 13, Ben Roberts.
Dickey is met at the line of scrimmage. I think for a lot of people out there who perhaps haven't taken a close look at Texas Tech, well, this second half tells you all you need to know and what they offer up with defensive talent.
Well, they passed the eye test to me. And you, Katie, and I, we spend a lot of our time in the SEC. We watch really good teams like Georgia and Alabama and Texas A&M. But when you watch Texas Tech's defense, and their starters, especially that D-line, that front 4, they are as talented as anybody. And this defense gets takeaways.
Those big stashes for the fans. Those big stashes for the linebackers, and specifically that stash crew with Ben Roberts. 2 interceptions in this second half.
This is just a team, Joe, that just doesn't have a lot of holes, a lot of weaknesses, really on either side of the football, but on defense in particular. And look, they dominate. They're beating teams an average of 35 points a game. That's most in the country. And whether they win or they lose this game, they're going to the playoff. But I know this. I don't care who they play in the playoff. This defense is going to be a problem for somebody.
any matchup, any team having to deal with Texas Tech and that front seven, that defense overall. 3rd and 11 as Morton just tries to go underneath right near the line of scrimmage to Dickey. You think about the teams at the top. The top 4 seeds and who's going to get them. Now, Texas Tech winning a Big 12 championship today, it'll assure them that they are top 4, that they will have a bye. And the way they're doing it in such impressive fashion here in the second half as well, Jesse.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just really turn it on. I mean, you blink and all of a sudden the scoreboard looks entirely different. And really the big reason is the defense.
And Harrington off the mark from 49. Another team that's hoping to secure themselves a bye. Gunnar Stockton, the starting quarterback. Drive Recap is brought to you by Microsoft Copilot.
Well, this defense has completely turned this game on its head. 3 takeaways in the last 4 drives. It started building a wall. Ben Roberts coming up with a huge interception. The very next play, it's Dickey in the Wildcat. They go for 2, spitting it out to Terrence Carter Jr. And just like that, it's 8 points on the board for Texas Tech. And 2 takeaways since. And you see, since that opening drive, that 14-play touchdown drive by BYU, Joe, at the start of the game, look what's happened. Pure dominance.
Shieldwood's defense. He's been a defensive coordinator with 5 different teams in 5 years. Been at Army and Troy, Tulane, Houston, but the success here at Texas Tech is unprecedented in terms of improvement.
And everywhere he's been, the defense allows fewer points than the year before, and they get more turnovers than the year before.
Bachmeier as he goes underneath to Carson Ryan.
Just don't know if you can dink and dunk your way back into this one. If you're BYU, you're down 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and I don't know if BYU's explosive enough throwing the ball down the field. They took a shot to Chase Roberts recently and got a pass interference call, but I think you're going to have to, at some point, just trust this O-line, and Bear Bachmeier is going to have to make some throws into small windows down the field.
Pitch to Martin on 3rd and 2, and he's going to lose yardage. First guy to get there was John Curry.
John Curry plays the nickel. He's a big guy at 235 pounds, number 6. He's going to be out to the right-hand side of his play, and he just runs right through Parker Kingston, the guy in Curry who showed up in Lubbock and added 40 pounds of muscle. And you can see just too big and too physical to block for smaller wide receivers.
4th down and 4. Trailing by 17. From their own 37. Bachmeier. And it is denied by guess who? Ben Roberts. So 2 interceptions and a pass defended on 4th down for Ben Roberts.
Well, and that's lucky because Bear Bachmeier wasn't ready for this snap. He's looking out to his left. He's about to audible and give a hand signal. The snap hits him right in the gut. He's somehow able to still catch it, but now he's got to get his eyes set looking downfield, and Ben Roberts was just robbing right in the middle. The eyes took him to the football again, and that was almost his 3rd interception of this game. The Stash crew doing what they do.
And do they ever have fun? There's Roberts and Rodriguez, that dynamic duo at linebacker. Jacoby Williams is fighting his way back to the line of scrimmage, tackled by Latui.
You got to imagine now with Texas Tech, 24-7 lead, under 9 minutes to go. They're normally a very fast, up-tempo offense. They're going to slow it down now, take their time, substitute, just try to get as many seconds off the clock. Head coach Joey McGuire.
8.5 minutes to play to a championship as Williams runs right through the Mooney. SEC championship game is coming your way. Kirby Smart, the 11-1 Georgia Bulldogs. Jesse, we were with them last week in Atlanta when they played the rivalry game against Georgia Tech. What do you make of them at this point of the season?
Well, I think they've improved a lot in the second half of the season, especially in the trenches, but they've got a big injury. Center Drew Bobo, their starter, not going to play in this game, and how will that affect them running and pass protection?
They're down in 2, and the BYU defensive front does their job that time. With Sarah making a tackle.
I got to say, obviously BYU struggled on offense, but how many times has their defense stepped up in sudden change situations? They don't get the fake punt. They end up not giving up any points. After all these takeaways and turnovers by the offense, not allowing touchdowns, they stop the fourth down play in their own end. They're trying their best, and they played with great effort. That execution just hasn't been reciprocated on the offensive side of the ball.
It has been a struggle offensively for BYU ever since that first drive. This is 4th and 2 as Texas Tech looking to put this game away. On 4th down, they get it into space to Aiken, and Aiken inside the 10 and into the end zone for another touchdown. He had the 33-yarder earlier and now runs his way in across the goal line.
Well, Aiken's coming in motion this way. This is Cabella following him. He actually runs into his own player. DeMooney goes down. And a great job by Aiken, not just getting the catch, but staying in bounds, cutting up field. And I just feel like moments ago, this was a one-possession game. It's completely changed.
Ben Roberts with the 2 interceptions. The forced fumble and the fumble recovery with Holmes and Height. And then the explosive play on 4th down by Coy Aiken. Tech now with 5 plays over 23 yards. Texas Tech is headed to a first-round bye. 31-7 in complete control. Texas Tech is up by 24 points. I mean, this has been a theme all year long for Texas Tech as they have dominated their way through this season with wins in excess of 20 points. And you think through the great history of the sport, you got 2 other teams that have 12 wins by 20-plus points. That's what Texas Tech is potentially heading to here. The Noles and Bama, both those teams made the national championship.
I think it's important to remind people, too, that they did lose a game this year against Arizona State, right? But they did it without Baron Morton right there in the lineup. But they still won and beat good teams even without him in games. You think back to their win at Utah by 24 points. Baron Morton was knocked out of that game twice, and still they won against a very good team in dominant fashion on the road.
They missed a couple games there. That is the lone loss at Arizona State without their starting quarterback. L.J. Martin. Oh, that's how ball is out again, and it just continues to roll downhill as Cofield comes up with it. And BYU is just having a disastrous second half with these turnovers.
Well, these turnovers are contagious, and they start piling up. And another one now for BYU. I think that was John Curry getting his hand in to knock that one free. And Cofield able to jump on it. This has just become a turnover fest for one of the best defenses in the country to take the football away.
The most improved defense in college football this year. Last year, they gave up nearly 35 points per game. Here they are in a championship game, having given up 7 points. And keep in mind, it was BYU early for their lone touchdown drive today. Williams with the ball.
And this is not to take away from BYU in the special season they've had. Kalani Sitake in his 10th year has done an outstanding job building this program. And I think he's in the midst of changing expectations. Back-to-back 11-win seasons now, Joe. competing for conference championships and playoff spots as well. That was a big get for them to keep him from going to Penn State. But he's a guy that played football here. He got the commitment financially to keep his staff and NIL opportunities and revenue sharing to keep him home. Easily one of the best coaches in the country.
Was joined the Big 12 3 years ago, finding themselves in a championship game. To the end zone they go, looking for Virgil, but it's incomplete as Maury Bama had coverage. That comes down. That's back at the 13-yard line.
Pass interference. Defense number 4. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
See Mamba there getting the shoulder pad and the jersey of Virgil down the field. You know, the first time these two teams played, I thought, for the most part, BYU's corners on islands did a really good job defending downfield shots. And they play a lot of man coverage. They're a defense that loves to challenge you and load the box, but against these receivers, and this is what somebody in the playoff is going to realize as well, the size and speed that Texas Tech has outside. It's that pick your poison dilemma you're in if you're on defense, because if you leave these guys on islands, man, they can burn you.
Williams met at the line of scrimmage. All right, so we talked about what's at stake all day long, and now you see Texas Tech coming in for a nice landing here to become Big 12 champions. And Jesse, the impact it's going to have, what's been the hot debate between Notre Dame and Miami and that edge of the cliff at the end of this.
That's what this game is going to really help determine. With Texas Tech winning, it's going to open up that spot. The ACC title game is going to open these two slots here. The question is it Notre Dame or is it Miami? And I think that's a big discussion. It's probably the most important discussion the committee is going to have this weekend.
There's Virgil. As Virgil trying to stay on his feet inside the 10-yard line, coming up on 5 minutes to play. Schoonover with the tackle. Incredible job by Joey McGuire, a guy who is so tapped in with the Texas high school football coaches. Of course, he's in the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. You add that into what they've been able to do. You brought it up in terms of their general manager and how active they are and aggressive they are in the portal. And it's the perfect combination to put together this roster. It's incomplete as Reggie Virgil is trying to score on the slant.
Well, the really unique thing is the autonomy their general manager, James Blanchard, has. He can recruit who he wants and offer them whatever he wants without getting the green light from the head coach, which is really pretty incredible. And there's obviously a tremendous amount of trust between the two of them, but what that does is it frees up Joey McGuire and his staff to not worry about recruiting in season. They can focus on game planning and player development.
And when you really understand the competitive landscape of what it is in player acquisition right now, you need that. You need to act quickly and strike quickly, and that is what Texas Tech has done. And Jesse, I thought you made a great point. I'm sure a lot of people out there that this is their first real good look at Texas Tech this year on a championship level, all eyes in the standalone platform of a championship game. And you said it earlier, just look at the talent they've acquired. They can compete with anybody contending for the national title.
There's no hole on this team when you watch them. Good on the offensive line. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. Experienced quarterback. Best starting defensive line, I think, in college football. Outstanding in the front seven. And they get takeaways. You know, it's interesting. They played a relatively soft non-conference schedule against Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Kent State and Oregon State. So you didn't really see that marquee non-conference matchup. But just from the eye test standpoint, watching film on them on both sides of the ball, even in the kicking game, they're not going to be an easy out. They're going to be a problem for anybody in the playoff.
And of course, this was the performance that Notre Dame and Miami were looking for today out of Texas Tech. It has been the great debate for weeks. Notre Dame, Miami, we understand the head-to-head. Others say, look at the eye test, look at the momentum. How do you see it?
I think it's Miami, and to me, the head-to-head has to matter. Otherwise, why are we playing games? It's not just beating Notre Dame, but holding Jeremiah Love, a Heisman contender, to 33 rushing yards. These teams have 4 common opponents this year. Miami has wins in 3 of those games. that were by more points than the Notre Dame win. And they're also a team really hot right now, Joe. They're beating their opponents in the last 4 games by an average of 28 points a game. I know Notre Dame certainly has gotten better, and the result that they went head-to-head today back in Miami may be different than the first one, but I also know Miami's gotten better too.
Yeah, and I agree with what you put as a stamped headline on there. Results have to matter when they're this close. They played the game with all due respect as Bachmeier falls on the ball to 13 people in a room who are looking at metrics and are putting in a lot of effort and thought into what they're doing. We had a football game. We know the result. Miami over Notre Dame. Not erode away the importance of a regular season, of games, of results. 34-7. Texas Tech so impressive in this second half. L.J. Martin, remember, he started the day with a touchdown for BYU. He was originally committed to Texas Tech. He's a native Texan coming back home after a tremendous season for BYU. And to your point, not to get lost in all this, the kind of year that BYU had. Their first conference championship appearance of any kind since 1998. Bachmeier on 3rd and 12. That's incomplete. He was looking for Hagan.
Nice job closing in on that by Amir Boyd, corner that's been attacked deep a lot this season. And you can just see the confidence and the swag and the energy that this defense is not just playing with tonight, but this is what they've been playing with all season long.
Been touting this defense all day. Been going through all the talent. And then in the second half, it shows up specifically with Ben Roberts, Jesse.
This game was 13-7, Joe. And BYU was in this thing. Roberts interception. You get the hit by A.J. Holmes that forces the fumble. Another Roberts interception there. And then a fumble forced by John Curry. Just padded their lead by 21 points. 4 takeaways. They have a saying, take 3. It's a goal on this defense to get 3 or more takeaways a game. They've actually won up that with 4. And that guy right there, if you ask me who's the MVP of this football game, I think it's Ben Roberts.
And there is the Butkus Award winner, J-Rod, Jacob Rodriguez. Ben Roberts, the first player in Big 12 championship history with multiple interceptions. Cameron Dickey had the 11-yard touchdown run earlier.
Again, it's the unique part of this offense, marrying the air raid principles with the run game.
Star quarterback gives way to Mitch Griffiths. Cameron Dickey takes it ahead.
Well, we talked about them running the ball, and their offensive coordinator, Mac Leftwich, was telling us this week, my dad has been an offensive line coach in high school football for 30 years. My younger brother is an O-line coach at Oregon. If I didn't run the ball, I would not get invited home for Christmas.
2 minutes away from a massive celebration here in North Texas. Texas Tech is about to get the big prize. School football championships is now about to accept in moments the Big 12 championship, a top 4 seed in the college football playoff. And the last time that Texas Tech won an outright conference championship was 1955. It was the Border Conference back then. And here we are at this point of college football with the big money and the big-time players. And it's Joey Maguire who has brought the Red Raiders to the top of the mountain.
I was talking to him pregame on the field, and I said, just watching you guys on film, you can tell your players play hard, but they love playing for you. He said that's the kind of environment we're trying to foster here at Texas Tech. It's all about love. And you can just see that with the interactions all these players now are having with their emotional head coach.
They have done it. Let the party begin here at AT&T Stadium. Katie is with Joey Maguire. Katie.
Thanks, Tess. Coach Maguire, for the first time in Texas Tech program history, the Red Raiders are Big 12 champions. What kind of moment is this for you?
It's incredible. Man, I've said it all year long. Our superpower on this team is that how much we love each other. And then you look around and all this red. I'm so proud for us. I'm so proud for Red Raider Nation. It's incredible. Incredible.
You say take 3, you got 4.
Yeah, we did.
How impressive was that defensive performance in the second half?
Well, what's crazy, I mean, hats off to our training staff because Ben Roberts got banged up really early with an ab issue, and they were able to freaking get it loosened up, and that joker came up with some big plays, but that's what we do. We take the ball away, and if you take the ball away, give it to this offense, good things are going to happen.
12-win season, first time in program history. Big 12 title, first time you're going to the college football playoff. Why was this the group to be able to accomplish all that and possibly more?
Yeah, just the leadership. Baron Morton, Bryce Ramirez, Jacob Rodriguez, just the guys that were been here from the get-go. And then we went and got some really special kids, and they bought into everything that we asked them to do.
You're Texas through and through. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tess.
Is he ever Texas through and through? Chris.
Ben, congratulations. As a kid that grew up in the Metroplex area, in this building, to bring home Texas Tech's first Big 12 championship, what does this mean for you?
Oh, it's massive. I used to come to games here as a kid. I remember just a couple years ago, I was at the Alabama-Cincinnati playoff game, and this is a special moment for me.
What do you hope the country learned about the Stash Crew today?
That we're a special group. I don't know if any linebacker group can play with us.
There's been a lot of emotions around this team, and we just heard from your head coach, Joey Maguire, who was equally as emotional. For that guy, also a Texas guy, what does it feel like to be able to help bring him home a championship?
It's massive. We get Lettermans, and he said once we win the Big 12 championship, he'll take his Letterman, so he's finally getting it. I'm so happy for him.
Still a lot to be played for you guys, and all likelihood you get a bye. As you look forward to the playoffs, what do you hope the country saw today out of Texas Tech?
That we can play with any team in the country. We really are who we say we are, and I'm looking forward to everyone seeing that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jesse, they have 12 wins by over 20 points this year.
12. It's just pure domination. Every time they take the field, it's very seldom, I think, you can look at a college football team over the course of a year and not be able to identify a weakness or a hole. But that's what I feel like when I watch a lot of film on Texas Tech, and what we saw here today in this game as well. On either side of the football, they're very special. They've got a lot of playmakers, and we'll go back and touch on this again. You cannot say enough about this defensive line, those special players that Joey Maguire was just telling Katie about, that they were able to bring in through the portal, and Romello Height and David Bailey and Lee Hunter and A.J. Holmes. They've completely changed this defense, and the turnovers and the takeaways.
A.J. Holmes, the first fumble there, Romello Height. But Ben Roberts and his play in the second half, it defined Texas Tech's day.
It's not just a defense led by Jacob Rodriguez, who deserves to go to New York and be a Heisman Trophy finalist. He's the Buckus Award winner. He's going to win other awards. There's a lot of other guys, too. And we expect them to get a bye in the first round. We don't know who they're going to be playing. in the quarterfinal. But I know this, whoever they play in the playoff, Joe, because of that defense specifically and that defensive line, man, they are going to be an issue.
When we came on the air today, we made the comment as so much is at stake, not just for BYU and Texas Tech, but all those teams sitting right there on the bubble of the college football playoff, hoping that Texas Tech would have this kind of performance. And now comes the debate, right? Because you know what's going to happen. You can get that Miami-Notre Dame debate. And never in the history of the college football playoff have we had power conference teams, blue blood teams with identical records play each other, know the result, and the loser got into the field and the winner was left out. We have stressed head-to-head matters. That is our opinion when it comes to Miami and Notre Dame, Jesse.
Yeah, I agree with that, too. And listen, idle teams can move up in this playoff ranking every week. It's a fresh slate. That's something people do have to remember back at home with this committee. But we've seen recently, after Texas beat Texas A&M, the committee moved a 3-loss Texas team ahead of a 2-loss Vanderbilt team because the head-to-head.
Absolutely.
That really showed up there because they won that game head-to-head. It'll be interesting. The All-State Playoff Predictor says what it says about Notre Dame with Texas Tech getting in today at 85%. We'll see. I don't think it's that cut and dry. I think you and I both agree. I think it should be Miami getting into the playoff.
And of course we have the SEC championship set to come your way almost assuredly. Texas Tech is a 1-4 getting a bye now. You got an SEC champion. You got the two powerhouses in the Big Ten later tonight. It is time for the trophy presentation here at AT&T Stadium.
Would you like to do the honors? Ben Roberts! Ben, I think it's important to note you got hurt in that first quarter, worked your way back into the game, and then had an incredible second half. What got into you to first two takeaways?
It's just my love for the team. I ride or die for these guys. I'll do anything for them.
31 takeaways after today's performance from this team. That's the most in college football. Why is this group so good at taking the football away?
Because we run to the ball. We attack it every chance we get. Yes, ma'am.
Do we think after the Stash Crew's performance today that Joey McGuire should grow out a mustache?
100%.
Congratulations, Ben.
Stadium, Edward Jones, Penny Pennington. I want to thank the Dallas Cowboys, the Jones family. I also want to congratulate BYU on a great season, okay? But this season was all about Texas Tech. You know, today we set an all-time attendance record. Thank you, Red Raider Nation. I want to congratulate my good friend Joey McGuire. Coach, fantastic. Give him a hand. Give him a big hand. Give Coach a big hand. Okay. So now it's my honor to present
championship trophy to Texas Tech.
Coach McGuire, congratulations. It's the first Big 12 title for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Can you put into words what this moment means for you?
Well, before we do that, Raider! 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 Let's go! I tell you, don't let the Red Raiders get hot. We have the best fans in the world, best university in the world. I am so lucky to have the president that we have, my AD, Kirby Holcutt, Mr. Womble, Mr. Campbell, just on and on. But I'm going to tell you what, these guys love each other. That's our competitive advantage, is that these guys love each other so much, and they know how much I love them. I'm so proud of them today, but we're not done yet, boys.
Congratulations to the 2025 Edward Jones Big 12 champions, Texas Tech.
The sixth different Big 12 conference champion in the last 6 years. And how impressive are they? The first 12-win season in school history. Congratulations to Texas Tech. SEC championship game is coming up next. For Katie and Chris and Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of this championship Saturday as we get you back to the College Football Scoreboard Studio with Kevin. That does it from here at AT&T Stadium.
Yes, thank you so much. First ever Big 12 championship for Texas Tech. Coming up, Gunnar Stockton in Georgia, the chance to avenge their only loss of the season. He gets a rematch against Bama on the big stage, the SEC championship, just over 40 minutes away on ABC. More after these messages.